Have you ever wanted to have a trackable link click in a funnel? So Landon asked this in our GHL mastery group, and I figured, why don't I talk about it? Because it's something that I've heard a lot, and it's something that I've dealt with a lot, and there isn't actually a way to do this. So at least not using trigger links. So the whole idea here is, hey, I want to track that somebody clicked on a button inside my funnel. Now, there's a couple of caveats here. So using trigger links, as we know, in an email or a text message, if somebody clicks on that link, you can track it. You can do specific things in workflows because they clicked on that link. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to track if somebody did something or clicked on a button inside of a funnel? You can't use trigger links to do it. It just doesn't work. And there's a number of reasons for that. One, if you have a trigger link button on a funnel, how does it know who it's tying that trigger link to? There's no contact record when they just visit a funnel for the first time. So that's reason number one that this doesn't work. So I'm going to show you guys a trick that you can use if you already have a contact in the system and you're sending them to a funnel from an email or a text message using a trigger link to track if they actually do click on a button on the funnel. So with that being said, let's dive in. Also, if you're watching this live, you got to let me know. I'm watching it live, just hashtag live. Or if you're watching it on the replay, hashtag replay. If you're watching it on YouTube, just shoot a comment and let me know if you think this is awesome or not. Okay, let's do this. So here is a funnel. I just grabbed a funnel template from the system, and it's got a button that goes to the booking page. So let's quickly look at this. And I'm going to show you something that doesn't work. So I've already set this up. So this get an appointment button here. What I've done is I've actually forwarded it to the trigger link URL. Now, how did I get that trigger link URL? I simply just emailed it to myself. Or I didn't even have to email it to myself. All I had to do was put it into the message box on my contact. So I'll show you how to get that. Go to contacts, go to yourself. You just type here and you click on trigger links and you pick the trigger link that you want. So in this case, it was the appointment. So I just copied this and I pasted it in there. Now you would think, hey, how convenient. You've got the trigger link in there now. It should track it, but it actually doesn't. It will still redirect to the page that trigger link exists with, but it does not track that button click. So you'll notice a whole bunch of my testing over here that I've been doing. So that's unfortunate. It doesn't really work that way. So let's actually figure out how we can track button clicks. Now, this is a roundabout way of doing things, but it does work, and I've done it. I've done it myself. I still do it myself. So let's get into it. So we're going to trick the system. Basically what we're going to do is instead of putting a actual button element here, we are going to put a form element here, and we're going to pre-populate that form with some information. Now, again, I want to stress that this really will only work if somebody's already in your ecosystem. And you'll see why in just a second. But if this is like a brand new site, this will not work the same way. So this is really only a valuable thing if the people are already in your ecosystem and maybe you're sending them an offer or something like that. And again, the reason that the trigger link doesn't work for people who are not in your ecosystem is because you don't have an email or a phone number to tie them to. So the system doesn't have a clue who clicked on the trigger link. So bear that in mind. So we're going to go trick the system. We're going to create a form that has a button, and then that form that has a button, we're going to do some trickery with. So I've already created the form. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to do email as a hidden field, and then you're going to make the query key email. So that's step number one. And then step number two is to create and stylize your button however you want your button on your funnel or your website to look. So I'm not going to go into styling this stuff, but just so that you know, you want to make this styled as if it was a actual button on your funnel. Now, step number two, we need to actually create a trigger link to go to that funnel. So let's go here. We actually want the sites and the appointment. So if they click this link, we want them to go to the next step. So I'm going to take this link right here. I'm going to copy that. Going to go into conversations and trigger links. And then we are going to create, first of all, a trigger link to get them to your main page. So you want to do this one right here, which is the home page. You're going to add a what's called a ref URL. So you're just going to do question mark, email, which is the query key that we put into that field in the form, equals, and then contact.email. What that's going to do is it's going to auto-populate the hidden email field on that form, so that really all you're going to see is that button, but that form field is going to be populated with the email. And then you've got your destination URL of this trigger link right here. So hopefully that all makes sense to whoever's watching this. Let's go in and show you what it looks like in real time. So let's go to the site again, and forgive my button being hideously ugly. You're just going to have to deal with it. So I'm going to delete this button here. And instead of a button, I'm going to add a form. And again, I'm not going to spend too much time stylizing this, but there's my form, my ugly button. You can make this look however you want. And we're going to update that there. Okay. Now, once you've done that, you can send your home page trigger link in an email. So let's go back to my contact here, and let's actually send me a email, homepage test, and trigger links. We're going to go homepage. That's all I'm going to send. So we're just going to send that one. And then I'm going to go into my email, and I'm going to go homepage test, and I'm going to click on this trigger link. Now you'll notice here, the URL has that ref URL with my email in it. So the hidden field on this button has my email in it, and that can now tie it back to my contact. So I'm going to hit schedule appointment. The button redirect on that form needs to be the appointment page, by the way. So there you go. Now I've been moved to that appointment page. Now what you have to do to track this is create a workflow that is based off of that form submission. So we're going to go create workflow, start from scratch, create a new one. Test form. And we're going to go form submitted. And form is trigger link, click test. And then you can kind of trigger whatever you want off of this. You can also have, like if you wanted to create a tag here, for example. So let's tag this trigger link form submit. Oops, add new, save that. Now, if you have this in its own workflow, this is kind of going a little bit above and beyond what we were just talking about. But oftentimes, if you're using a trigger link as a parameter in a workflow, you're going to wait for that trigger link to happen. So what you do in this case is that you create a separate workflow that's going to add a tag like this one. And then inside your other workflow where you're waiting for the trigger link to be clicked, you have a wait for condition step, which is right here. We're going to wait. And then we're going to wait for a condition. And in this case, contact details tag includes, and we're going to go our trigger link form submit. And then you have your timeouts on there from that point. So that is a way that you can kind of create a trackable button click on your funnel. So Landon, I know that's a roundabout way of doing it, but that is the only way to do it at this point, because as of right now, we cannot track trigger link clicks in a funnel. So hopefully that was helpful. If you found that helpful, let me know in the comments, and we'll be seeing you on the next one.